morning. This is Tarik Currimbhoy speaking from New York City. I'm a sculptor, and this is my studio. As you see, my corona mask is hanging from my vertical sculpture. Now, that's my studio. My interest actually is in weights and balances, and that's my direction to my sculpture. My inspiration is Brancusi on one hand, because I love his clarity of form, and Alexander Calder in terms of balancing of weights. I am speaking from actually the center of the corona world, which is New York City. The world is changing, the world will change, it'll change internationally. Yeah. I feel that in terms of art, what's going to happen is it'll be less conceptual, it'll be more looking at it for what it is, going into a space, feeling it, sensing it, and even touching it. I feel it would be like a Richard Serra structure that you walk into, that you are part of in many, many ways. This actually, Richard Serra's forms were generated by a woman called Rowena Reed Costello, who taught the basics of form and shape in American education. This happened concurrently with the Bauhaus, and the subject was called Form in Space. I'm a trustee of hers in New York City. She died about 30 years ago. Form in Space since then has become part of the American curriculum of art. It's part of the European curriculum of art, and it's really also a part of Indian curriculum of art. And I feel it's the basic to understand what you see around you, the positive form, the negative space, the lines, and understand the music of sculpture. Regarding social changes, there will be social changes that will be caused by the virus. However, in terms of art, I feel that art will still be, sculpture in particular, will be admired, I think, like a Brancusi, I think like an Alexander Calder, because these pieces speak for themselves. There's no narration involved in it. It's not conceptual. And I don't know about performances in art. I leave that for another day, actually. Now, looking ahead, I feel that, look at the city of Jaisalmer. It's made of Jaisalmer stone, that it has its own weight, it has its own density, its own beauty. When the sun shines on it, you see part of it. When the shadow is cast, you see another part of it. I think post-corona days will be really an investigation of the discovery of a shadow and what lies within it and its magic, because there is magic in a shadow. Now, before I show you the rest of my pieces, this is a very important piece because it is a Roman art. It was actually generated from a Roman arch. It's the distribution of weight from the top to the bottom. It's 4 sections of a circle, where the top left rests on the right, rests on the left, and that pressure is pushed to the bottom. Now, that is really the city of Jaisalmer. And the city of Jaisalmer excites me and interests me a lot because it's, again, when you look at it, it's really based on compression of stone. And compression of stone interests me a lot. Now, what you see at the back is, again, a kinetic piece. It's supposed to be 6 feet tall with bronze on the inside and stainless steel on the outside, and it rocks. And people look into it. And that sliver is a beam of light that shoots into it. I'm hoping to make that at 6 feet soon. This is called Melody, and it was for Lincoln Center. It didn't quite happen, but these are my studies for it. This is a study. Here, the idea was to see it from the bottom, where I look at the bottom and I see various shapes and forms. Shapes and forms that one wouldn't see from an elevation, but you see it as a reflection. And I love that shape that you see here, that curve here. You don't see it in elevation. And it sort of brought to the front the whole mystery of reflection, which I so much enjoy. That piece deals in materials like rock crystal. It's the flame again. That's my studio. That's the pendulum, a larger one. Now you look how beautifully it rocks. It just sways very elegantly here. This is the eclipse, like the solar eclipse. Yeah. And that's the curl. So all my work actually is quiet, it's soft, it's tranquil, it's governed by movement, generated naturally by the forces of nature. There are no machines involved in it. These are my studies of materials here. This is inspired actually by the Arabian Sea. It's called the wave. And what it is it's 1 pound over another pound over a third pound. And the one's called the monsoons at the back, and the other is a wave. And I like this because you see the top portion of it, it's been annealed on a fire, and that technology doesn't exist in America, so I have this done in India.
The way I see architecture, it's an answer to a question. Somebody commissions you to do a piece of architecture. And in terms of art, you do what you feel. So what I did is I took the tenets of architecture that dealt in permanence, that dealt in weight, that dealt in light, and dealt in shadow. What I do is I take a simple form and then I play with it. I take a shape and then I distill it till it's very, very basic. One creates these shapes understanding it intuitively. So what I do is in New York I sketch it out, and then one goes through the motions of creating models. I have an architecture office in Bombay, and I can do it there because I can make mistakes here. Mistakes means, you can correct a shape as it's being formed. So I have it cast there, then it comes to New York where it's polished here. So I'm trying to achieve the marriage of materials. It takes like 6 months to a year to create, actually, to get it down perfect. But by the end, the equation is simplicity. So what I am trying to invite is I'm trying to invite interaction. Yes, and the interaction between the form and between you. I'm also trying to create a journey and a dialogue between the viewer and the object itself. And it's like I talk to my pieces in the morning. They're my best friends. It's you interacting with a shape, with a form, with space, and you finding your own tranquility. I don't want it to be an answer to a mathematical question. I want it to be a journey. It's rocking, it's swaying, it creates a melody. It's simplicity, it's a beautiful static form, and it's a beautiful dynamic form. The distillation of form and pressure and gravity to its basic points. And the beauty of it is, when do you stop? Can a whisper be heard?